What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Market just closed roughly a minute ago. I want to go over some of the data points, what moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close 2.11% in the red. Absolute bloodbath across the board. And you kind of had some optimism first thing. And that wasn't just with SoFi, but a lot of other stocks. And I think that's correlated with Apple's massive 500 billion investment that was announced, but I think that was short-lived. Market then just started to once again think about inflation, a lot of the data points from last week, and this just dropped like a rock. And again, it wasn't just SoFi, it was pretty much every stock just had this massive sell-off. But SoFi did have a low of 1381. So I feel like at the same time, a lot of this crazy volatility did trigger a lot of stop losses. And this is why you had kind of this excessive massive like pullback. And so a lot of stocks did recover, SoFi part of that, but still I think the fear is very much there and present in the broader market. No news or any SEC filings or anything like that today. So it was just piggybacking off the fear, and as well, I think just uncertainty associated to upcoming earnings. So as I mentioned in my video yesterday, or it might have been Saturday, my SoFi video, honestly, I feel like there's a lot of big data coming out this week that could move the market, but it's all going to come down to most likely NVIDIA earnings. That is going to be the saving grace for the market. We've been here in the past, like late 2023 and also 2024, where the market is just absolutely wanting blood, but one big company unveils their earnings, kicks ass, and then it just moves higher. So most likely that might be this scenario once again. No news from SoFi itself, no SEC filings from today, so it was just piggybacking off of the broader market. There's one thing I do want to bring up. It's I've always seen this meme just randomly on whatever social media. This one's a little bit outdated, as you can kind of see based on the prices, but this is associated to Bitcoin, but it's very funny. Like, this could be translated to any stock, including SoFi. So at 20, I had numerous and countless comments like, I cannot wait for it to buy like it at 15. I can't wait to buy it at 14. And now that we're here, everyone in the comments from what I've seen, oh, $11 is next, $12 is next. So I kind of do find it comical. So if you actually do believe in the company itself, buy the dip, do what you need to do. Obviously, whatever floats your boat, of course. But I just find it comical how everything does play out. When you get to the price point that you state that you're going to buy, like, people just get cold feet. But aside from that, though, shorts did increase 373,000 shares. 11.84% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 127.4 million shares overall are being shorted. So now this is the third consecutive day of shorts increasing a little bit more than their norm. So again, shows that they are piggybacking off of the fear. Cost to borrow minimum, that's now just a standard for it to be negative. So it's kind of crazy how bold they are getting. But 25 million in calls today, and then looks like 10 million on the dot for puts. 45% of all the options being done today were optimistic, though. Could be shorts again covering and hedging that way, but based on this, you did have 34.6 million in total premiums, 30 the day prior, and then 34 on last Thursday. So kind of the norm for that. Looking at the call options that were purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be above that $16 to $17 range. So oddly enough, you do see a recovery in the foreseeable future. And again, I think that is linked to possibly GDP, PCE, or as well NVIDIA earnings. Tuesday, Wednesday, you do have a lot of Fed speakers. So that could help the broader market a little bit, but I anticipate a lot of volatility regardless. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1354 this week. And so the fact that it did hit 1381, not much more downside from that point, of course, but let me know your general thoughts on that. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So not all that much. So again, it wasn't just SoFi. This was pretty much the same scenario across the board, that big money wasn't really buying the dip as a lot of people would have liked. And I think even if we look at this data, which I haven't really brought up in a while, mind you, but you do see just generally big money not really cycling out of money markets as much as we would have anticipated. So ultimately, if we kind of go back over to this is a little bit better of a viewpoint. So money markets are sitting at all-time highs. You would figure with like obviously a lot of the good data and possibly deals out there, a lot of the market and stocks have gone down quite considerably from its recent highs. You would figure that big money would be rotating out of money markets into both equity and crypto, but crypto is getting very, very low volume, so insinuating there might be a very big drop coming for that. And then equities similarly has been getting very low volume. So it's kind of a unique circumstance. So big money is just not buying the dip. So maybe they are anticipating a even further significant pullback. What's your kind of viewpoint on that? These are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So kind of this one was a little bit more active. So I think shorts as well as big players like to use the dark pool rather than the secondary market. So as per usual, this one was a very, very popular one. Nothing significant. So 1.08 million for there. A couple other big ones, but yeah, again, it is what it is. I think just SoFi is just stuck in limbo, and it'd be really nice if Anthony, I know I've stated this in the past, but it'd be really nice if Anthony did buy. He acknowledged that the sentiment is very low for retail right now, and one way to change that is for him to buy and using his own money, because it would signal that at these prices is a screaming deal. And so I think hopefully he has something planned, because if not, SoFi is just going to be pretty much at the mercy of the market. And SoFi, leading into even the best case scenarios as it did run up, it still was being very much heavily manipulated through shorts and just market makers. So I feel like management does need to do a little bit more extra something. But with it at 1436, it is trading between these 2 points. So this S1 and this S2 did bounce off of this S2. So 1389 is going to be a strong support. And now that we know it's tested, it's kind of a strong one. So going forward into the next couple of trading days, just watch for that. Then 1449 followed by 1545 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And so today, no new analyst ratings, nothing along those kind of points. And as I brought up in my video a couple days back, the Elliott wave technicals is kind of indicating for it to hit roughly around that 1229 to 1321. So it is still anticipating a little bit further of a pullback possibly coming, but on the actual chart itself, the only thing to really watch for right now is at 1385. And obviously now this is the third time me bringing up something in that general area. So you have 1385, 1381, and then also I think 1383. So definitely a very strong support level. So that's going to be that 100-day moving average, and most likely, given the fear in the market, could potentially be once again touched tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see if it does hold or not. But if it does fail, then this is where you could see most likely it just trading between that 100 and 200-day moving average, and that 200 right now is sitting at $10.48. So that won't happen overnight. Just on a side note, unless Nvidia does miss on their earnings, then all bets are off. The market is going to be just pretty much RIP for the most part. But yeah, I think SoFi, definitely management does need to do a little bit extra something to help shareholders. One thing to note though, today it did break below that super trend, so that has turned bearish. So going forward, it is going to have algorithmic trading really working against SoFi, because now all the algorithms are signaling that SoFi's technicals are essentially broken, which again, you can kind of predict what was going to happen as soon as it did break below that 50-day moving average on, it looks like February the 20th. But let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Are you buying the dip? Are you selling? Are you doing options? What's your general thoughts on all of that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Discord, completely free. A lot of good people, a lot of good chat. You can go talk options, crypto, whatever floats your boat, and a lot of good SoFi and a lot of big SoFi investors on there as well. So with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.